Along the U.S.-Mexico border, thousands of families from Central America are waiting on the Mexico side for U.S. asylum hearings. This all started last summer when a new Trump administration policy known as Remain in Mexico mandated that they wait for court dates on the Mexico side. Their living conditions there are unstable at best and life-threatening at worst. The humanitarian agency Bethany Christian Services is just one group that's concerned. CBN's Heather Sells spoke with Christy Gleason, the vice president of global programs at Bethany, who recently visited the Mexico side of the border.
The conditions there were dire. Families are needing food and water and heaters. It was really, really cold when we were there. And so it was really concerning to know that there were families out there living without access to water, access to sanitary facilities, access to food is even becoming an issue.
Are there any kinds of resources for these families, anything for them to tap into, or are they having to pretty much find everything on their own?
So there are the beginnings of some grassroots levels of responses. I know that there's also larger organizations, international organizations that are coming in that have been providing some of those services, but it's a lot of families, and so the need is overwhelming. And there's limited resources on the Mexican side, as we know. And so I think there's a lot of people that are coming together, churches and organizations on the U.S. side that are helping to support organizations on the Mexican side. But more help is definitely needed.
And how is Bethany strategizing in regards to how Bethany might get involved here?
Right now, what we're doing is some very quick responses, including working to help support some of the teachers that are down there living in the shelters as a family member is waiting for asylum. They're also trying to help educate the children. They have no supplies, they've got no curriculum, so we're going to send down a couple teachers to help train and support and to bring down some supplies. We'll also be providing trauma training to some of the workers working right there on the front line, some of the social workers and response workers. And then we're looking at what's the bigger picture. We are looking to potentially replicate a program that we have on the border of Colombia and Venezuela, where we serve children and families coming across with things like water and food, a safe place to rest, some educational opportunities and learning opportunities for kids, but also a lot of mental health and psychosocial support, psychological first aid, things like that.
Christy, you were talking about the bigger picture. When you think about these families waiting on the Mexico side and this upcoming year, what do you see happening? Do you think many will get their court dates and receive asylum, or will they return home? And how long might they be there? And might we see a lot more families coming? What is your anticipation as you think about how you can help?
It's a great question. I think there's a lot of unknowns right now. So we're seeing a lot of families not win their asylum cases. And so they're waiting in limbo for either another court date or an appeal, or to decide what to do next as they realize that their dream of coming to the U.S. is not going to happen in the way or in the timing in which that they thought it was going to happen. And so I'm concerned to think about the fact that more families continue to come. The need is still there. These are families that are fleeing for their lives, families that feel like they cannot stay in their countries of origin due to safety factors. We talked to many families who said our lives were in danger and we picked up what we could carry and we came up because we wanted safety for our children, safety for our family. So there's a lot of concern right now about the uncertainties about where families are going to go if they realize and when they realize that they're not going to be able to come into the U.S.
All right, and we know that typically a lot of families also come when the weather gets better, so there's that to anticipate as well. But a lot to think about. Christy Gleason with Bethany Christian Services, thanks for your time.
Thanks for having me.